Hello, it's Angie and Janet, and we're here with our private charter specialist, Angela, and she's going to share with us what it really is like to experience either a yacht charter or a private sailing. Angela, thanks for joining us today. And Janet is back from a ski trip, so welcome back, Janet.
Thank you. Welcome, Angela. We're super excited to have you. And I will say sailing, like yacht charters, is our family's absolute favorite type of vacation. We love it.
They say once you go on a yacht charter, you don't go back. That's it. That's the only experience that you want to do. So thank you for having me. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
We're really looking forward to this year and bringing a lot of new experiences. Getting back out on the water, it's going to be really important for everybody to get back out on the water and truly experience what it's like to be on a yacht, be catered to, and basically have that all-inclusive type of experience that you can't really get anywhere else. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, if that's okay with you, and just kind of walk you guys through, and whoever has questions, just fire away. The private yacht experience, okay? So a lot of people ask me, they always ask me the question of, so what's it actually like to be on a private yacht charter? And I've been doing this for a lot of years, and I always tell people the same thing. It's kind of like when you walk into an art gallery and there's that one painting that makes you stop, and it evokes a type of emotion that you're not sure, what it is, and you don't know what it is exactly, but a private yacht charter, basically being out on the water, being in tune with nature, whether you're doing a sailing boat or you're doing a motor yacht, just that whole connection is that you are present, you're there, and it's your own little world. So what you're seeing on the picture here is a catamaran, and this one happens to be a power catamaran, which is a very, very interesting trend that we're seeing in the yacht chartering space, because it combines actually the best of both worlds. Just from the size of it, you can pretty much see that you have like your own little floating island on there.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Angela, because so we sail always on just a regular catamaran, and but we've been seeing, the last time we sailed in Greece, in the Greek islands, we did see quite a few of these motorized catamarans without the sails. So maybe we can talk a little bit about the differences. And I think just starting out, when we first started, when we did our first private sailing trip, I think there's a lot of kind of misconceptions about what it's like and also what the cost is. And I think a lot of people think private yacht experiences are only for like the, celebrities and royalty. And it's actually can be, especially when you get a group together or multiple families or different couples, it can actually be relatively affordable for regular people to have this incredible once-in-a-lifetime type experience.
Yes, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. It is an extreme misconception, probably because, a lot of times you do see yachts in the rich and famous and, shows and things like that. But it is truly an affordable way. And actually, in many cases, it's quite efficient, because when you're taking a family or two families or traveling together, just the sheer logistics of moving people around. I mean, yachts are perfect, and you look at catamarans because they give you the space. A lot of these catamarans are bigger than some New York apartments. So you're getting your family on there, you're getting your friends on there. You're sharing all the costs, If you're going sailing and you're using sails as your private, your form of transportation, then, fuel is relatively low. So you can look at, in the sailing space, in the catamarans, you'll come out of that for a party of 10. So you're talking about 5 double cabins. For a party of 10, you're going to start in the $25,000 to $30,000 space, and that includes your crew. So in a lot of these cases, you'll start with 2-man crew, 3-man crew, and what that means is you have everything on board with you. The big thing about with motor yachts and with catamarans and with sailing yachts is the amount of space and different kind of lounging areas that you can have. When you talk about a yacht, and one of your crew members is actually a chef, so when you put that in the big picture of things, you have a chef who is on board and cooking for you based on your preferences. Now, one of the yachts that I have in the picture here in the bottom left, yes, that is in the upper $200,000 range, just to start. And then you're getting into your expenses. But there are a lot of individuals that will actually go on a high-end cruise liner and easily pay $30,000 and $40,000 a couple. Now, you're on a cruise line and not on a private yacht. So what we see,
yeah, and I think that that's really important to kind of consider. And I've talked to a lot of people. We have clients who were supposed to be going sailing last summer and are rescheduled now, and clients who have booked all different types of yacht type vacations, from moderate, sailing vessels to very high-end yachts. And I think that one of the things that we talk about is normally, okay, well, how do you want to get from place to place? What do you really want your vacation to look like? And if you want to see a lot of islands, it can be a big hassle if you're not on a boat to, take ferries or take planes and jump from island to island, versus on these sailing experiences, you can be on a different island every day. And depending on where you are, especially in, different parts of the world, some of the islands are so close, you can see multiple islands in one day.
Exactly. That's exactly right. In some cases, you can see, a different island. You can wake up for breakfast and have your chef cook for you breakfast in one island. You can be on the Greek island of Milos and have lunch in Paros. So you're basically having this full-on experience. Versus the other thing is that, when you're traveling with quite a few people, they are unpacking once. That is a really big deal. You're unpacking once. All of your items are arranged in your cabins. People, your crew members are cleaning your cabins on a daily basis. Your stuff is there, you're moving around, you're not getting on ferries, you're not packing and unpacking. And basically, if you don't like where you're at, it's as simple as telling your captain, we really want to be somewhere else. We'd like to swim, somewhere else. Or it's, this isn't what we had in our mind, and we're really looking to do a special beach party on a private cove somewhere. And your captain literally hoists the anchor and goes and finds that special place. And that is something that only a yacht can actually provide, that kind of experience. So when you start to factor that into the overall cost of everything, suddenly a private yacht is not that far-fetched from a budget situation. And like I said, if you're going sailing, you have very limited fuel. If you're going motor yachting, yes, you'll have that higher end for the cost, but the trade-off is the speed. So you are actually accessing more and more activities and things to do because you're on that motor yacht and it offers you that kind of speed. So there are the trade-offs. There are people that have a limited amount of time, want to see as much as they can, and in that case, then a motor yacht or a motor catamaran, which is kind of like a hybrid of the two, because it has reduced fuel intake, so the costs are not that high, and it's a moderate budget, and you're still getting 8 to 10 people on these power catamarans, so you're getting the speed, but you're still getting the efficiency and that feel-good feeling of not harming the environment, that much. So the other thing with a private yacht charter is the access, the destinations that, it provides. A lot of countries, a lot of destinations need to be experienced by the water. Many people will go to Italy. Many people, will go to France, and they'll go to Greece. But then when they come back to these countries and they actually experience the country by the sea, it's a whole different experience because of the access that the yacht provides.
One of my favorite things when we sail is the fact that we can be out in the water in July, and as long as we're avoiding some of the big, super populated islands like, Santorini and Mykonos, we can be, it feels like you're in off season. I mean, we've showed up at islands where we are like the only boat in, or there's a marina for 5 boats, and we're in the restaurant and it's just us and the owner's family and maybe a couple other families, and it's the middle of peak season in July, and you feel like you have this whole island experience to yourself.
Yes.
Those to get, when you're on one of these small private vessels, you can get to islands that the big cruise lines can never get to. Even the luxury, moderate to smaller cruise lines can't get to a lot of these islands because there's just nowhere for them to park their giant boats. But, when you're on your own private vessel, you can hop onto these islands and really have a very exclusive type experience that, for me, makes it so much more authentic, so much more special, so much more enjoyable.
Absolutely. That's exactly right. It is all about the authenticity. It is all about the access and not doing things that are cookie cutter. That's why when we're doing a yacht charter and you're doing this with your clients, they're consulting with you, and we're going through together what is the experience that they are looking for. There are those individuals that want that Mykonos cosmopolitan experience and champagne popping left and right, and that can happen also. And there are others that really want that authentic, off the beaten track, lost in some little remote island off the coast of Croatia, and having oysters at the private oyster farm that, we've already prearranged for them, and the captain knows when his time is to go there, and they have a private, experience with the oyster farm guy. So you're eating fresh oysters right off the back of your deck. Those are the kind of experiences that can be created, and it really, really comes down to what is it that they're looking for. We get a lot of birthday celebrations, a lot of life celebrations, a honeymoon, but birthdays and the big milestone birthdays, and they always make me happy because they just want to go all out, and a yacht can do that. It gives you that all-out feeling without breaking the bank, because the beauty of it is that feeling of being out on the water. You get that same feeling whether you're on a $20,000 catamaran or a $200,000 motor yacht. It's just the size and the difference in amenities, but the feeling the experience is the same. So there is something for everybody's budget. We can easily make a 20,000 charter feel like $1 million bucks without having to, have spent that kind of money.
Right. You consider what people spend to plan a big wedding or a big anniversary party. And if you really recognize the exclusivity and the privacy of a yacht, I mean, you're really talking about similar price points. And the beauty of the yacht experience, like you said, you really can do a mix of both things. If you want to spend a lot of time on Mykonos in, more crowded areas where there's celebration, or you want that off the beaten path experience, you can plan a mix of both or focus on more of one versus the other. Or the beauty is if you really don't know what you want to experience, this is a customized experience that can be planned. You don't have to over plan. You can have some things that you intend to do, but those plans can quickly change during the experience if you're liking, you're getting a better feel for something that caught you by surprise.
Exactly. And, one of the great things is that nothing is carved in stone. You and I will work with the clients and talk about what the experience is and kind of design it and coach our crews. This is what they are looking for, and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, we've had numerous clients that have gotten on board. I went to the island of Hydra and fell in love. And that was it. They didn't go any further. They had a complete itinerary planned to do all of the Cyclades to, I mean, we've had this happen multiple times in Spain, in the Caribbean. If you fall in love with a place, it's okay if you're not doing everything that you had planned. So that's the beauty, because it's not that it's set in stone and, we've booked you for there and you'll have cancellation fees. You just pick up and go, or you leave your anchor and you stay. That's entirely.
When you are on these private experiences, you get so close with your captain and your hostess. Like, they become friends. Like, we're in touch with, we love our captain. We talk to our captain all the time. And, then we request the same captain every time we go, and we know what he's up to. And because they are so, wherever they are in the world, usually a lot of these captains they're locals. And so they know the islands, they know the conditions, they know the best restaurants, they know, like, we showed up at one little island. My favorite island is Antiparos, and we showed up at Antiparos, and our captain Sterios is like, he knows the owners of every restaurant. He got us into a restaurant that had no reservations available just by picking up the phone and calling the owner. He found these tiny little coves that we would have never in a million years known to go to, because they know it and because the itinerary is so flexible. And that, for me, that flexibility, only having to pack and unpack one time, for a week or 2 week trip, and being able to see so many destinations with flexibility is the best. It's so freeing. It's the least stressful way to travel. Yeah,
exactly. It's seamless and it's effortless. And you're right. The crew definitely does. It plays a major, or they play a major role in your experience, and that's why we are more particular with our crew selection. So when we are recommending a vessel, we already know all of the crews. I am more likely to recommend to a client the crew first and the vessel second. And what that means is there may be some amazing super duper vessel out there, and maybe there's, and they have an okay crew, and I have a great vessel, but with a fantastic crew. I am more likely to recommend the great boat with a fantastic crew versus the fantastic boat with just a good crew. It's because it is so embodied in your experience how you're going to get along. It's what Janet said. it's the little restaurant, it's the access. We have crews that they basically are sailing by their own home islands, and their grandma's there. And then, they call up their grandma and they say, Grandma, I want you to make for me a pasticcio. Or, I want you to make whatever the local dish is in, Croatia or Spain or France or Italy. And, Grandma brings it down to the boat. And you cannot put a price tag on that. You just can't. And that is the connection that you get with the sea, with the crew, with being on a boat, with being out at sea. You have that safety and that comfort. It's your home for 7, 10, 15 days, how long you're taking that boat. And, really great crews make an extra effort to make you feel like you're just sitting in your living room. And not, the really fantastic crews for me are the ones that can do that can interact with you, give you the service that you're looking for, of course, keeping their discretion and, their distance, but yet somehow making you feel like you're really just sitting on the back of your boat, your home for that time period.
And you have different crews that appeal to different types of travelers. Angela and I have talked about, figuring out the best crew for, family travelers versus, a group of historians versus a group of young couples. So, choosing that crew as well as the ship, varies depending on the travelers as well.
Exactly. And that's, and you're right, Angie, you and I, we know this quite well. Sometimes it can be challenging when you've got multi-generational family trips, and you have to find that balance and make sure that you're going with a yacht and a crew that can offer a little bit of everything. So you want to make sure that you've got the deckhand that's also the super experience with the sea toys to keep the young ones, active and, going with all the sea toys that they've, got on board. You like to see that in the older, we always see in older couples, they tend to prefer more established captains. And, we look for that because a lot of people spend, you don't realize the amount of time that you actually spend with your crew. It has been kind of, calculated that you could actually spend more time, concentrated time, in that 1 week that you're on board with technically a total stranger and become the best of friends, versus you're a friend that you have, but if you think about it, you don't see each other that often. People are working, you're 24/7 with these people. So you create this kind of connection with your crew as much as you want, okay? And crews are very, very good at picking up on how much the clients want to interact with them. Okay, I always say that crews, crews are always, we're always doing coaching with crews, and we tell them, listen, your primary role, more than anything else, number one, their safety and their comfort, but number two is the psychology, being able to pick up on the cues when you're seeing them on board. No matter how big the boat is, you're on a boat. So good crews really know how to pick up on those cues. Really great chefs, and we're very fortunate because we have really great chefs, know how to pick up the mood with, whipping up a batch of some snack or declaring that it is now happy hour, and he's bringing out, all of the cocktails and the local specialties, and and it's only 11 o'clock in the morning. but they're very good at picking up on this, and all of that contributes to the experience that you're having on board. The dining, the food, I'm really going to reiterate on, on this point, because this is such a major factor. Every year, I always get, it's the god of the trip. So every year I get people that say to me, no, I'm not going to I don't want to do a large advanced provisioning allowance, which is where your food budget comes in. And that's a calculation that's done. And no, we're not going to be eating on board. We want to eat out in the restaurants, and Every year we get this, and we say, hold on, okay, yes, you are going to go out to a restaurant, and when you're getting to that island or that destination that we know is a really good restaurant that you should try, your crew is going to be telling you, but you are not going to pass up having your private chef and your dining experience on board. It is as much a part of your yachting experience as anything else, because the food is hand-picked, the wines are personally paired by the chef, so everything is based on your dietary preferences. You do not get that anywhere else. You go to a restaurant and you're eating off a menu that has been pre-designed. You're eating on board, you are eating a meal that was designed for you. You cannot get that anywhere else. We go through dietary preferences on a daily basis. That is the biggest part, getting that done right, down to the favorite cocktail, the favorite after dinner drink, the aperitif, and
I love Angela too. Also, it's great to have amazing fancy food for the adults, but it's also so important that these chefs can really whip up great, authentic, delicious, healthy meals for kids that are simple fare, but are also just memorable, so that the whole family can have these really cool, authentic, local dining experiences and, taste that Croatian food, the pastica in Croatia, or taste the, my favorite, the fancy desserts in Greece. I love galop de buriko. That's my favorite. So they can take, and they can try all these little flavors without it being, intimidating, without it being this super fancy meal. And I think a lot of times when people are traveling with families, the parents want to experience a little bit more of, culture, and they want to experience a little more fine dining, but they don't necessarily want to bring their kids and have their kids, choosing from a 5-course tasting menu. So on a yacht, when you have it privately prepared, you get the best of both worlds. The parents can be having these are delicious fresh caught oysters, while the kids can have, mac and cheese if they're up for it that day.
That's right. That's right. And you would be amazed how many kids our crews have actually converted into, healthy meals. They get that spinach, they hide it in there. They come up with all these crazy stuff. And a thing that really kids get a kick out of is when they're fishing. And they actually, if they catch something, great. If not, sometimes, we're like, okay, let's just get the fish guy out here. But the kids really enjoy being actually a part of that process. So you'll get them to do that. And, you're right. The parents can be having oyster, and the chef has made something completely different for, the kids. We had we did a 60th birthday, and he brought, oodles of family members, and it ended up being 3 56-foot sailing catamarans. And it was this cornucopia of food. So we basically rotated the boats, and each night one of the chefs on each boat was creating a different themed meal, and one boat had the kids' boat. All the kids' meals were going over there, and it ended up being just this super fun experience for them that they didn't even possibly imagine that they could have done a birthday celebration and have it be so, amazing. We brought for them tango instructors, and with a catamaran you can do this because you've got the deck space, and so we brought these Latin tango instructors, and they all had dance lessons, and it ended up being this huge party on board. And those are the kind of things that you can do and add on to the experience of already being out on the water. You add certain things.
Have a question from Kim. She wants to know, she said Croatia is going to announce if it opens on January 15th. What are your expectations going forward for the summer? Because I think, a lot of times we'll talk to people and they'll say, this sounds amazing, but with everything going on, like, we don't know, when are we really supposed to be booking for? What should we be looking at? How far in advance should we be planning? So what are your what's your behind the scenes scoop on this?
So my behind the scenes scoop is that the countries of Greece, Croatia, Italy will actually really push this forward. They are going to push really hard because their number one revenue driver is tourism. They cannot afford another year. So what we are going to be seeing from the States, we're going to be seeing later in the year travel. September, October are actually beautiful times of the year to travel to more of the southern countries. So if you're looking at a Croatia, or you're looking at a Greece or a southern Italy, you're still getting that beautiful weather, okay? And in Greece, you're getting it well into November, right? We just started to go cold. Greece just started to go cold in, the past week. So Croatia is...
What do you think is going to happen in the summer months for people that really either have trips planned June, July, August? I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I know none of us can predict things, but what are your thoughts?
Well, so the what we have so far, because we're highly involved with the Ministry of Tourism in all of the Mediterranean countries, they will be deciding on either a vaccination, if you have that accessible to you, or a 3-day prior to your trip, a rapid test. And it will depend also on your age bracket, where you are in the age bracket. They are going to be a little bit more concerned with older travelers and in the 70s, okay? We are... Greece, Croatia, okay, Italy has been hit really hard, but Greece and Croatia has really mitigated the whole spread. And they have all gone into another lockdown, if you will. Our European offices are based out of Greece, and we went into a second lockdown exactly for that. The whole point for the country was to go into a second lockdown, a very strict one, so that we can salvage the summer season. The other thing that's happening in the countries is we're adding a great deal of flexibility in the way in which people can book their charters. We know that things are so uncertain. So we've released a lot of the clauses in cancellation. They have COVID addendums to give them that out, if you will. There's a lot more of a structural and infrastructure approach to being able to handle this, mitigate it, make this easy for people to come in into the countries, and for people not to feel that risk and that stress level of booking a charter. So as far as, you know, booking in advance in your time periods, it's really good to work with your travel advisor. Work with your travel advisor that will figure out which yachts. We work together extensively with Janet and Angie, and we know which yachts are contracting and allowing for greater flexibility in their contracting. We know which yachts have and which yacht owners have agreed to COVID addendums to give them an exit out of the contract. So those are the yachts that we're going to migrate to. We're going to migrate to those and only offer those so that we can make this as least stressful as possible, you know, until flights are coming back. And I think that the airline industry is going to start to open some things up as well, just because they too need to open up and, you know, get back to business. I am seeing for Europe, we will have a massive uptick later on in the season. So from July forward, we'll really start to see this ramp up of people being able, that gives you a good amount of time. I think by March, we will definitely have a clear view of what's happening here. And so it will be a really good time in March period, which is spring and, you know, renewal and everything else, to really take this time from now until March to do your research, get your questions answered, start to get prepared on your destinations, and then ramp up into the March period, which will be a really good time. We'll have a much better understanding of what's going to happen here. I know that all the countries, France, Italy, you know, and the Caribbean, of course, right? The Caribbean is basically doing everything possible so that they're not losing, you know, their tourism season. I don't know if I answered that, you know, well enough. So we're basically going to stay, you know, on point, and we watch this, but nobody is going to go into a contract with any type of uncertainty, and we're making sure of that. So the yachts that will be offered, like I said, will be only yachts that were double vetted, and not from their quality perspective because they're already vetted yachts, but from a contractual and a flexibility perspective. We've done contracts now that we're doing the open sea pass, which is allowing people to just put 10% down so that they can reserve the yacht that they want. They're not losing that if they are running into any type of logistics, you know, issues, that they can't do that. So we're creating also products to be able to bring to the market and have people keep traveling. And that's what, you know, what we're going to focus on for all of 2021. Okay.
That's awesome.
All right. So I covered the remote access and the accommodations. You know, accommodations is another thing that's really big on the vessels. There's all kinds of accommodations. You can go to full deck suites where you basically have the entire upper deck of the yacht with your own private balcony. In the top right corner of the presentation, that is actually a motor yacht, a motor catamaran. That's its cabin, so you can see the size. The left picture is, you know, a motor yacht, the standard guest room. So there's all kinds of accommodations. And then, you know, you can go all the way to the sailing, the monohulls The sailing boats, which are super fun for kids, parents don't need to be stressed. Their kids have an amazing time. They can have a twin bed or a bunk bed, or, just have that true water experience. And the parents don't need to, be stressed if, oh my God, did my child spill something, or did my child break something? Not that you have to have that stress anyways on, even on the bigger boats, they're all protected. It's not like we haven't seen a spill or a break before, and, it gets taken care of.
Angela, I've had a lot of questions related to what happens during the sleeping hours. Is the boat moving, or is it at port? Could you explain what the options are for what happens in the wee hours?
Okay. So after sunset, technically, a vessel, unless it is a passenger class vessel, should not be traveling at night. So you will either have the option to be in a marina or on anchor, and that's entirely up to them. There obviously are some places such as Santorini that there is no marina, so that is not an option. And I'll touch on Santorini because I know that that's a popular destination, and there's also a misunderstanding about this island. So I'll touch on that. Remind me to touch on that because it's very important for Santorini and Mykonos when we're considering Greece. So usually the captain will speak with the charterer and say, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to do an out under the stars on anchor experience? A lot of people are hesitant until we convince them otherwise, and they love it because they're away from it all. It's very safe. It's completely safe to do that, and there's always a crew member anyways that is on duty. So whenever a vessel is on anchor, there is one crew member who actually stays on duty. Or they can decide that they want to go into a marina, either the private marinas in the locations that have private marinas, or the public one, the public port, and they may decide for that evening that they're going to spend their night out, and they come in the wee hours of the morning, and they decided to have a cocktail at a bar, or listen to some music and things like that. So it's entirely up to them.
Even if you're anchored, there's always a jet, like the jetties, the little boats that can take you into the marina.
Absolutely, yes. So you're not cut off. No. You're not cut off from the island. It is really just, a choice. It's a preference. There are a lot of people who do not even want to see a port, and they only take the little jetty to go in for supplies, and they just want that full-on authentic experience to be out on the water. Yes, but if they are on anchor, that does not mean that they can't go into the island. No, your captain or your deckhand, if you have multiple crew members, then if it's a motor yacht, one of the officers will take you in on the jet. If it's a sailing boat, the second crew member will take you in, or the captain will take you in, and then you usually have walkie-talkies, or we provide you with local cell phones, so you call each other and you say, can you come and pick us up? And that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, and I like mixing it up. I mean, I think that, some nights it's fun to be in the marina, and because it gives you a lot of freedom. You can put the kids to bed if they're older, and then, the adults can go and walk around or even sit on the deck and do the people watching, which is always fun. And other nights, it's just really nice to be out and, away from all the crowds, and you can see the stars, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah. A mix is usually the preferred option. in the end. Even our diehards that say, no, 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 I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to be out on anchor. We usually try and get them in on anchor on the second day because we don't want them to miss out on that. So there's always that combination. The combination is the best one, and it's done exactly for that. You know, if they have the kids can stay, the parents can go, you know, or just be out all night, or maybe the kids want to go and the parents just want to stay, and they don't want to be too far away from their kids or needing, you know, the jetty, the tender to pick them up, and they rather just give them access to be able to roam around and, you know, come on board.
There's so much entertainment on the vessel, yet there's so much entertainment, you know, at the port that you really stay active. At the same time, it's such a relaxing experience. It's really, until you've done it, I'm sure, it's just, you can't even put it to words.
You know, it is really what we know from our clients. Everybody sleeps like a baby. Everybody, even our most difficult sleepers. They say, I don't know what happened, but I had the best sleep. You know, our most hyperactive kids, parents, moms will come to us and say, I don't know what just happened, but, you know, my kid was completely relaxed and chilled, because you don't realize how much energy you're burning. You know, you're jumping in the water, you're re-jumping, and, you know, kids love that, right? They'll do it until sunset. They'll do it, you know, with moonlight. They can jump in the boat, jump in and out, things like that. Same with the adults. And, you know, you're eating well, you're walking, you're moving around, you're exercising, but yet you're relaxing at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're getting that combo. It's like being in a spa that's moving, you know, with, I don't know. That's why I say it's like going to, you know, an art gallery, and you see a picture and you're taken aback from it. And you just have all these emotions that come up to the surface, and water is scientifically proven to do that. So it can put you in that meditative state. You're constantly looking at the water, and the water is very conducive to being in a meditative state, which allows you to kind of let go of a lot of stuff that can come to the surface, and you just let that go. And, you know, that goes out into the sea, and you find yourself, as each day goes by, you're calmer and calmer, and your kids are calmer, and they're more relaxed, and they're happier, and the smiles are coming back. And, you know, and you also realize that your children actually haven't looked at an electronic device. So they did in the beginning, and then all of a sudden you see your kids looking less and less at the electronic device, because they're choosing to water ski, they're choosing to fish, they're choosing to, you know, wakeboard, they're just choosing to snorkel, you know, scooter, do whatever. And when you have those options available to you, because those come with your boat, then there's less and less of a need to go to the electronic device. Not that that's a bad thing, but I'm not harping on that. I have a teenager, so I have been trained not to harp on the use of electronics, but I see it in my own son. He just has less of a need, and he has more of an enjoyment of being out in nature.
Angela, do you have any other beautiful photos that you can show us of yachts and experiences?
Well, I do. Let me see here. How would I do that without completely messing everything up? Basically, that's a yacht in Sardinia. This is a yacht, actually, that's in Greece. And let me see. I can show you an amazing experience in Croatia. And if you guys want to look at something like this. This is a wellness. We do a lot of journeys that are wellness journeys. And this one is amazing because this is in Croatia.
Oh, that looks incredible. Is that Dubrovnik?
Yes, this is Dubrovnik, and this is part of our Blue Life collections. So these are all the yachts that are specifically designed for wellness on board, everything about them, the entire journey. We have Blue Life journeys in Greece and in Croatia. We're supposed to have them in Italy, but that has been set back a little bit. But what these journeys are all designed to do is they are these journeys of healing. So you have coaches that are on board. It depends on, they're all customized. So basically the journey is customized as far as, do you want a massage therapist on board for the week? Is it acupuncture? Is it yoga instructor? Is it a qigong practitioner? Is it a art enthusiast, or an art expert, or an antiquities person? And these are all modularly put together, and they are designed to evoke healing by using the water and incorporating alternative therapies that are all done on the boat.
That would make an amazing girls trip or couples trip.
It absolutely would. So, and it's all the science is there. In this vessel, this is the vessel that you see here in the left. It is what is called a motor cruiser, and it is not a cruise ship. So what this does is you have control of who is on board. This is for a total of 16, so 8 couples. 8 couples, plus we have 4 practitioners that come on board. So it's basically like taking a motor yacht and a cruise ship and combining them together. Everybody is in a queen cabin, and they have a full en-suite, and we have all of the toys, the stand-up paddling, the inner tubes, all of the things that you're doing. In here, the program has daily meditation. There's a guided walking tour. There's water immersion on all the water toys. There is a lavender fields exploring all of these spices and herbs for the Mediterranean cuisine. We've got wine and wisdom, creative expression. The activities that are done on board are mandalas, zentangles, those kind of things are all done on board. And then organized hikes and organized tours of Dubrovnik, Trogir, and Split. And this is where we also do, I'll just go back. This is where we do the oyster experience, and we do the fresh fish experience. Basically, it's a journey that's incorporating food, your wellness, the water, and they have been very, very, very successful, these journeys, because a lot of people think, oh my God, I could never do that. And yeah, you can, because this tops out this starts at $45,000 a week, and that includes everything. So you have a Blue Life navigator, and this is for up to 32 guests. So if you are talking of a couple of families want to come together and do this, this starts at the $45,000 a week, and yes, it does move up a little bit, and you do have, you know, some extra stuff. But if you're looking at the amount of people that are going on board, that are doing this, the amount of people that you can bring on board. If you think about it, a lot of people have been in either some, isolation. They've been away from their friends. They've been away from family members. This is a way that you can actually do one big, huge reunion trip, plus get all the benefits of the extra wellness and that kind of activity, and just have this out of the world experience. And Croatia, I'm confident that they are going to be opening because they were open last year. So they were accepting Americans were able to go into Croatia last year. So I am confident that they are going to make every effort to make sure that they are getting their Americans back. These are super popular with Americans. You can do a wedding, you can do a bachelorette party, you can do, a friends reunion, because you have the space. You have the space, and it doesn't break the bank. So that's one of the other.
That's incredible, Angela. I mean, that really is less expensive than a lot of cruises. And you have your own very private, incredible experience. I mean, so it's up to 32 guests for 45,000 euros for the week is really, I mean, that's a very reasonably priced trip, and you're getting like a truly once in a lifetime VIP experience.
And there's so much of the entertainment is already included. Yes. And I think that the beauty of being on water is it removes so much of the stress of locating each other, connecting at a museum, trying to figure out directions, because you really, although you can kind of create your own individual itineraries and wake up at your own time, go to bed at your own time, you really don't have the stress of the connecting time that I know coming from a big family, when we get together in big cities, it's really hard to coordinate everything. And by sea, it's so much easier to spend time together, and the quality of that time is fantastic.
Affordable. It's extremely tailor-made. So your clients can come to us and say, I want the entire trip to be Tai Chi. I want all of my family members to be doing Tai Chi morning, noon, and night. And we'll have a Tai Chi person on board. I want my family members every day. I want a hairstylist on board because all the women have, just had a rough year. So everyone's going to have their hair done and their makeup done every day. And we'll have, a specialist that's put on board. So this is one offered package that we do, but what I'm trying to say is that we can highly customize it. And of course, there are extras to the 45,000. That's where your starting point is. But even if you're getting up to and you're adding things on and, extra things like that, you're still in a very reasonable, all-inclusive type of experience. And going through Croatia, going through, the Dalmatian coast, which is as stunning comes. So I have high hopes for Croatia. I definitely think that they are going to have a comeback. I have high hopes for Greece. They are really going to push really hard for this to happen. Those are the countries that we're primarily focused on right now. We will not be offering this year for Turkey. The Caribbean is coming back. But that's a different experience. So the Caribbean is about the water. The Caribbean is not as much about what you're going to see on the islands. You're going to see a lot of beautiful nature and stunning waters, but it is actually not about that much the destination. I would say that the Bahamas are going to make their comeback faster. The British Virgin Islands have already opened up, but there are some complications right now with as far as what you have to do for quarantine, and it's kind of a moving target in the Caribbean. So some islands allow for your quarantine to be done on board, and other islands don't. So it's still a little bit of a moving target. But I do think that by March things are going to really start to clear up, and we're going to have a better understanding of what we need to be doing here. The Mediterranean is far more a destination and a cultural destination, to go to. And the Caribbean, though, is easier access for the Americans. I think that things are going to open up for the Caribbeans far faster than, for the Europeans. And the flights will come back. A lot of people are choosing just to do the coast of Florida. Florida has an incredible spike. We have an incredible spike in charters for the coast of Florida, and that's also an option. As we get further in, the East Coast, Martha's Vineyard, the northeast of the United States is also a beautiful option. People don't really think about that, right? They don't think about going to all these beautiful, destinations. That is something to consider. If you
I've done it, Angela. That was actually one of my first sailing trips, and it was magnificent. And you can do it. Magnificent.
Right, and a lot of people don't think about that. And maybe we need to also do a better job to get that out there as an option. It's an easy option. There is no passport, quarantine, all of that kind of stuff. And so if someone really wants to get out into the water, that's a good place to do it. So is the coast of Florida. The U.S. has, some really good options for maybe a shorter trip, less of a logistics, trying to figure it out. Same with Mexico. They're going to, out of California, they're really going to push hard to try and figure it out so that you can have access to Mexico for your closer destinations, okay? And then further on in the year, you're going to see this massive surge and comeback of Europe, with some really, really beautiful and amazing once-in-a-lifetime, destinations.
Angela, knowing that 2022 is going to be a very demanding year for private charters, are you seeing a lot of bookings for 2022?
We are. And, the other half of our company is yacht sales. And surprisingly enough, we have a great amount of orders for deliveries of yachts in 2022. So that tells me two things. People who are professional yacht buyers that keep them in the industry are also expecting a surge in demand. And that tells me that. And it also tells me that there are a lot of people who are making changes in their life, making changes in their priorities, and they're going out and they're doing the things that they put on hold for far too long. So we are going to be seeing that. If anyone is interested in maybe looking at a Christmas and spending it in the Bahamas or the Caribbean, you will need to book it very soon. We had a lot of last minute, let's pop over to the Caribbean, let's go to Florida, let's do, New Year's in Florida, and we just could not keep up with the demand. And number one, there weren't enough boats to do the demand, but also the experience wasn't quite there, and people had to be accommodating because, you know, marinas were packed, everything was just packed. So for 2022, you're going to want to be able to start looking at mid-year for 2022 so that you're 12 months out, especially if you are looking at a European charter. If you're looking at a European charter, if you're looking and you're thinking to do a Christmas charter or a New Year's charter in the Caribbean or Florida or the Bahamas, you're going to want to firm that up by March.
Angela, this was so amazing and informative. We could probably talk about this. I mean, I could talk about this all day long, but, you know, for the, you know, since we have all day, like, is there any people who are listening to or are going to watch the replay that they should absolutely know? Like, if there's one takeaway that you want people to have about these private yacht experiences, what would that be?
I think that, you know, the takeaway that I would want people to have is that, number one, they're unique, they're tailor-made, they are affordable, they do address a lot of the fears and concerns that maybe people are having. They're ideal. They're ideal to, you know, get your life back, get back in connection with family. They just have that kind of magic. I think that's probably the takeaway. Out of any other travel product, I happen to be biased because that's all we do, our yacht charters, but they have that magic. That's what a yacht can offer. That's what being out on the water does. And my takeaway that I would want people to have is for people to approach you guys and let them know their travel concerns. And, you know, we're not set in stone. We don't make contracts out of rock and chisel them in. We make contracts that are made for today. So people shouldn't have that kind of fear of losing their money. And, you know, I think this kind of caught everybody off guard, but we have 1 year under our belt, and everybody has kind of taken a beating, and we know that, you know, this is a significant thing. We have to reduce the amount of stress in actually moving forward to plan a trip. Just planning a trip will change, you know, your mood and your perspective on how things are going. So that's what I would want. I would love to see that your clients are reaching out to you to, you know, get things going, even as, you know, a little bit, just the research, just to kind of get excited and, you know, get things in place, and we'll remove all of the risk, and we'll remove as much as is feasibly possible and in our control, you know, the stress that may be perceived around this. There you go.
Well, thank you, Angela, so much. This was amazing.
Angela, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I know we connect a lot by email, so seeing your face and hearing your voice has been fantastic, and I look forward to working with you again on upcoming charters.
Thank you.